Who's that guest critic?
Kate Nyx and Ophidian the Cobra.
Hello humans, I am the Master of Snake Style and the Cobra Supernova, Ophidian. And also Chikara Pro Wrestle Factory Trainer.
Hi, I'm Kate Nyx. I'm Mrs. the Cobra. I run the gear company Closet Champion, and that is the primary gear outfitter of Chikara Pro Wrestling.
This is the Final 30, a show where we watch the final 30 minutes of a B-horror movie and decide whether or not we want to rewatch the entire film or set ourselves on fire and repeatedly watch Randy Orton matches. So what's happening? When the movie kicks off at about the 55-minute and 30-second mark, around there, we're being introduced to what we're assuming is a toddler that is also a prostitute, which I'm referring to as a prostitute.
My phone done told me.
This is very generous of Granddad.
Hello, Judy. Can I get you something?
Yeah. You got any vodka?
I don't think you need any vodka.
I don't need any of your shit.
Because that word makes me uncomfortable, I will be referring to her as an underage sex worker.
She's actually not a toddler, she's like 16. That would be super weird. Actually, probably would have made for a better movie if there was a toddler, not necessarily doing weird things, but just a toddler in general in this movie, fighting Satan.
If there was a baby in this movie, at all, it depends on if the baby was a good actor, because honestly, a lot of the people in this movie couldn't act themselves out of a paper bag.
What are you, my f***ing jailer?
This young child here is being whisked away by our main character, Alexandra, and then madness ensues.
So it turns out that Alexandra's grandfather is part of this crazy cult, and I guess he took her to his priest so that way she could be sacrificed, so the cult could all be more famous and wealthy and live longer and stay the same age for a long time. There's a couple uncomfortable conversations about the true age of a woman. It was weird and the joke didn't really sit well.
Tell me, Allison, how old are you, really?
Only the devil knows for sure.
Women are being kidnapped, bad dreams are being had. There's a traveling priest who goes from town to town pulling people into his cult so they'd sacrifice their children to live longer lives.
Not forever!
They remain the same age for 13 years, but also become super wealthy and powerful by sacrificing their grandchildren.
So you're wondering, why did I just listen to about a minute and a half of them describe the plot of this movie? That's how convoluted it is. That's how much is going on. That's how much for some reason, why are we introduced to a new character half an hour before the movie's over?
And that whole sequence is explained at the very end of the movie. There's a monologue where they just go through, you're gonna be the same age for 13 years and you're gonna be given money and wealth. This is like in the last couple minutes they explain this.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the entire movie, nobody knew what the hell was going on.
No idea. So I'm glad that we only had to watch the last 30 minutes, because if I had to sit through the first 55, I don't know if I would still be okay. So what is something of note in this movie?
Satan.
Satan?
Satan's of note.
Satan is played by a puppet made of chewed up fruit roll-ups that looks like a rat.
Pretty sure it was a rat puppet repurposed and painted red to be Satan.
Also, there's a really awesome sequence where the detectives that are in this movie, because obviously there are cops in this movie.
Of course, lots of cops.
Yeah. So there's two detective guys, they go in to take down the priest, and they show up with their guns, and he's got his gun pointed at him, and he says like, hold up or whatever. But he calls the priest fart breath.
You must be from the police department.
Cut the crap, fart breath.
Now that is a stinging insult. So wholesome that the priest, no, nothing happened, because why the f*** would you call someone fart breath?
No, the priest just used his magic bullet deflecting shield, which they didn't show. You just assume he's got that bullet deflecting shield.
Yeah, because they shot him, but he didn't have any holes on him. And
no, but he did this.
He did do this.
Best part, besides fart breath,
Besides fart breath.
the best part was the final scene when everybody's together and people start melting. There's a melting sequence, and I love me a good melting sequence. There was terrible special effects throughout this entire movie. There's a scene where there's a bunch of really hot, attractive women who are nude.
Yes,
right?
there's boobs in this movie. If you
Getting
were
their-
worried that there weren't any boobs,
Lots of
there
boobs.
are.
Lots of boobs. Getting their wrist slit. And you can clearly tell the blood is placed there before the knife even starts cutting. Terrible special effects.
It's basically strawberry jelly on a butter knife, and that's their wrist cutting effect.
And they were saving all their money. So this final sequence of melting and skeletons and all types of craziness happens.
It only lasts for about 90 seconds, though.
Yeah. The end of the cult comes when the cult priest's sidekick.
Lackey, his crony,
Yeah.
this dude that is in the movie for who knows what reason, he's
He's
just
got like
some
a
crony.
sling blade kind of deal to him. Like he's kind of farmy and doesn't really talk.
Yeah,
and
he's got a
big
Lenny
and
from
oafy.
Mice of Men vibe.
Yeah, just decides to rape a girl. Or attempts to. Doesn't actually happen. Rape doesn't happen.
Thank God.
But he tries to, and the girl goes, you know what? Terrible idea. Screw the cult. Screw this big dude. Screw the priest. Screw the Satan puppet, rat puppet. I'm just gonna spoil everything, and goes to hell. And Satan gets stabbed, and people are melting, and it is awesome.
Not worth the first 30 minutes of the experience, though. Under no circumstances is this movie rewatchable. We recorded a version of this where the sound was messed up, so we had to actually watch it twice. And just being in the same room as the last 30 minutes of this movie again made me deeply depressed.
I love B-horror movies. I love things that are unwatchable. I love to watch the unwatchable. I like to challenge myself. Can I sit through this? Is there something to enjoy, to find some sort of happiness deep within this movie? Somebody somewhere had to have been happy making this, right? I assume. But I don't think there was any joy being had on the set of Primeval. It was boring.
And we only had to watch the last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So we say, if you want to be anywhere near the experience of this movie, just YouTube that last scene with the weird puppet made of fruit roll-ups.
And the face melting. Face melting. Ah, like street trash. It's not the level of street trash. It's like the dollar store knockoff of street trash. But still worth checking out if you like a good face melt.
If that is your thing.
It's my thing.
We did it so you don't have to.
Or don't. We only had to watch the final 30 minutes, which is the name of the show. Final 30. Thanks for watching. Pew pew. Fart breath.
Fart breath. Oof. This movie was pretty bad, but I don't know if it was Randy Orton match bad.
I'm just joking. I really like Randy Orton matches.
If he'd stop stealing